All right, welcome to this channel again. Today I have something very important to talk about, which I've received different messages on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere about, and of course I know I've written about this on Facebook before, but I mean on Twitter rather. Well, now I realize that it seems some of my audience on Google, on YouTube, are quite different from those on Twitter. So I felt, oh, why not make a video and talk about this? Okay, so how do you prepare when an interview committee has invited you? Sorry, a graduate admission committee has invited you for an interview. How do you actually prepare? What do you do? What do you study? What do you read? Should you quickly go back to pick up your old textbooks and start studying, like pick E&M, electromagnetism, and those stuffs, and you start studying again, or what exactly do you prepare for? Okay, so I wrote here, I said, now that you've been invited for interview with the admission committee, you are a step closer to securing your full funding, and that's very true. If they are not interested in you, they wouldn't have bothered to call you to request for an interview, to call you for an interview. So the mere fact that you've been called for an interview shows that, oh, either the professor or the admission committee or whatever as the case may be, it shows that they are really, really, really interested in you. So first thing you should do, if it's a situation where you have applied to the school already, and then you have a representative of the admission committee, or you have the admission committee, maybe 3 of the members or 2 or whatever, as the case may be. First thing you should do is review your statement of purpose, because coming to you, they have the mindset of, oh, this is what we read about this guy in the statement of purpose. They're expecting something really great. Yeah, you're great, that's true. So, but you want to review those things you wrote in your statement of purpose. It is very, very, very important. Now, you mentioned in your statement of purpose, you'd have mentioned some things about your research work, things you have done in the past, your research experience, your work experience, as the case may be. You'd have mentioned it in your statement of purpose. Review everything. If you also mentioned in your statement of purpose that you'll be working with any professor, review those stuffs, review those things you wrote about. The professor reviews those research works that you wrote about. It's very, very important, because those are some of the direction in which the questions will definitely go. Okay. Now, it's okay if you don't know everything about the research that the person is doing, but just have an understanding, a basic, or let me use the word, have a big picture of what the whole research is all about. Okay? Because they will ask you, why are you interested in the professor? They will ask you why you're interested in the school. They will ask you your history, your research experience, those things you wrote exactly in your statement of purpose. They will ask each of those things. Now, aside from what you wrote in your SOP, you should also prepare to, in the line of research, you should also prepare to have an alternate research interest. Okay, now, sometimes many of these people organize this interview because the person you wrote that you want to work with, the research interest that you said you love, you want, either the person cannot receive any more students, or there are no more funds that can be used in that area. Okay, so they want to ask, is this person, is this student willing to shift ground to move to another research area? Will this student be able to do that? So they want to know that if you are able to shift ground, they want to know if you're able to do that. That may be one of the purpose of that interview. So you want to have an alternate research interest, an alternate professor, so that when they ask you, oh, do you have another professor in mind you think you can work with, you'll still be able to mention the name of the professor and that research that the professor is doing. I mean, I have a personal experience in that light when I was applying to school. One of the areas I applied to, I think it was on medical physics, cancer-related research, radiation, health, and all those stuff. And I was asked, okay, I was told that there is a limited spot for that, for those positions, for those who are admitted into that area. and many, of course, not all of them are from physics background. So I was asked if I have another professor I have interest in working with, and of course I had another person I had interest in working with. Of course, even though I didn't eventually go to the school, I mean, I was asked that question. So for the fact that they have called you for that interview, they are really, really interested in you. And you also want to revise your the basic in physics, for example. You want to revise the basics of E&M, the basics of mechanics, biology, maybe your enzymes, your um, gene, DNA, blah, blah. They may throw you a question at you and just say, oh, what's the meaning of DNA? And then if you're looking, not being able to answer such a simple question, that's terrible already. That's a no-no in their book. Now, as you go in for the interview, also you should be ready to explain any discrepancy, any perceived discrepancy in your application, be it in your statement of purpose, be it in your GRE scores, be it in your grade, courses taking, your background, wherever it may be low CGPA, and they want to ask what really happened. Be prepared to give an answer to that too. It's very, 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 very important. So you should be ready to discuss any discrepancy, anything that looks like discrepancies, the gap in your years of studies, whatever that may be. Be ready to give good answers to that. That's very, very, very important. And of course, you have to speak with confidence. That's so important because you must be able to show, you must be able to articulate those things you have in mind. If you don't speak with confidence, the person will not actually believe what you're saying. So that's why confidence is very, very important. Confidence shows that, oh, this person is sure of what he's saying. And then, of course, it shows that you can survive in an academic setting where you have to present, where you have to discuss with other people, where you have to do a lot of those stuff. So you must be articulate, speak well, and of course, dress well. First impression, remember, it's last. And of course, don't also forget, you should show enthusiasm about this research um, area, this research, even if you've not done research in that line before, you should be enthusiastic about it. Show enthusiasm that, oh, I'm really interested in this thing. Those things you say, the way you say it, will really determine how much interest, how much enthusiasm you carry for these things. So don't forget, show enthusiasm in for this research area. And of course, remember, you must also be ready to answer questions that borders on why you are choosing the university. So, of course, these are things you should have written in your statement of purpose before. Why you are choosing their program, why you are choosing the university. You must be able to show, you must be able to show joy, happiness. You are really, really, really interested in this. So, why you are choosing the university, you must be able to articulate it. Why you are choosing the department in particular, you must be able to articulate that. That's very, very, very important. And of course, how that program fits your career goals, how it fits your long-term goals, not just obtaining the PhD. What do you want to do after the PhD? Research, industry, whatever. How that program fits your career goal. And I remember when I was having my interview, one of the questions I was asked was that, is that school one of the top schools I'm considering in my list? Of course, they know you have applied to many schools, maybe five, six, seven, as the case may be. So they want to know, is this person having us in mind or is just having us as a reserve? So I was asked that question that, am I most likely to choose their school? And of course, that school was one of the schools I was considering then. Even though I didn't eventually go, I was very enthusiastic about it. I mentioned it showed that yes, I'm really happy about this. This is one of the schools I'm really, really, really considering. And I gave them enough reasons why I think it's one of the top schools I'm considering. Okay. Just make sure you prepare. It's nothing too hard. It's nothing too hard. And lest I forget, um, try and make research about the lab, if it's a laboratory, if it's a department that has its own laboratory in that specific research area. Make sure you make some research about that laboratory to be able to talk about some of the things they do, some of the equipment they use. Okay, make sure you do your research, find it out from their website, find out. You can have some other students who are already in the school, just send an email to them. You find it on their website. So you want to find out information about that lab, that professor, whatsoever. Um, of course, that will imply sometimes reading some research papers. Okay, so that when you are even, sometimes they will ask you if you have any questions to ask them. This information help you to be able to ask informed questions so that you don't just ask anything which is not relevant. So this preparation will really help you to ask relevant questions, and then they see you as someone who is really, really interested. You know, when you ask questions, it shows that, oh, this guy has been doing his homework, this guy is really interested in us, and then they are excited when they see people like that. So if you have gotten an interview request, I say congratulations to you. That's a big order you have crossed. It simply shows that they are interested in you. They want you to come to their school. And then it's only when you mess up that they don't consider you again. They just want to be sure that this person we are seeing on paper, is this the same person physically? So the communication to them is what we tell them, oh, this is me. What you read in my SOP, what you saw in my CV, that is actually me. That is what you are going to do in that interview. All right, if you have any question, just drop it under the link. I will answer them. See you later, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel.